versus something surface level. And listen, I know things can get busy. I personally, last year, I sucked at this. It's not something that you're always going to feel like you're great at, but it is something that it's never too late to reset on and refresh on that relationship and that budget game planning. And so, just so we're clear, I want to name this. You pay your accounting team, they work for your business. That is an expense and an investment that you're making in your business. And so you just want to make sure you're getting the most out of that investment and you're fully leveraging their skills and their expertise to grow the business. And I want you to be unapologetic in conversations with your accountant or your money team, and in terms of asking questions and not knowing how it all works. You're not supposed to. That's not your expertise. You're allowed to expect education and not just your financial reports and statements. And at the same time, you are the leader of the company, though. And so you need to guide the relationship with your strategy and your vision and make sure that they're clear on those things while learning from their expertise. And so when you show up in a conversation at the front of the year and you're ready to learn and ready to guide the conversation and ready to talk budget, it lets your money team know that you're paying attention to your coin, you're taking it seriously, you're clocking dollars, you're tracking decisions, you're engaged. And that is important. It's important that they know that and they see that. It helps avoid mismanagement. It helps not, you don't want people to think you're suspicious, but you do want them to know you're involved and you're monitoring. That's your job. That's good stewardship of your money and your budget. And so I want you to have an amazing, credible, trustworthy accounting professional. You probably already do. But at the same time, it's your responsibility to provide oversight and monitor performance just like you would anyone else working in your business. And so let's get started because I want to talk through this initial conversation you're going to have with them and give you some tips for what the conversation could look like. And yes, this is all about planning and strategy because that's what we do here at Sistahbiz. Planning first, numbers on point. It's all about the strategy. And so the first thing I want to kind of name and go over with you, it's more of a just like before we even start the conversation, like get your mind right around the fact that I don't want you to think about your accountant as as your brain. You're the brain. You're walking in, and if you walk into that conversation saying, "Girl, I don't know. I'm just trying to survive," that's exactly how your finances will be handled. And so you really need to walk in confident about the things you do know. You're the one who has the expertise about this company, what it is, what it's doing, where it's going. And so walk in having some clarity around the places where you have expertise in leadership and know that your accountant, can leverage those things to help you grow the business. If you don't bring direction, a lot of times accountants and bookkeepers will default to compliance and just make sure you have your documents that you need and that you're compliance. But compliance doesn't equal strategy. And strategy starts with your plans, your vision, not the reports that they're generating for you. And so come into the conversation, opening the conversation with like, hey, I just want to share where the company is, what my game plan is long term and for this year. Here's my big vision. Here's the current goals we have in place. This is the current season we're in. You might even have to have that conversation where you're talking about a like seasonal element of like, we're in a period of downsize. We're in contraction. We're in a period of expansion. We're in a growing pain season. Like what season is your business in? Just let them know that you're kind of really clear on the phase of growth that your company is in and where you're at toward your North Star. So have that conversation first to kind of anchor the conversation. And then you want to kind of come in um, having discussions or asking about things like this. Like, so let me give you a few things that you can ask about. One, know your business structure. So if you have an LLC or an S Corp or a C Corp, you want to make sure you know what it is and that you come in asking about like how this will impact taxes and payroll and ask them how you manage owner pay or draws or payroll or write-offs. There's tax implications, things like that that are really dependent upon what your business structure is. So if you're an LLC, um, versus an S corp versus a C corp. Those things have to be handled differently. And so you want to learn about that, you want to ask about that, you want to confirm like how what actions and documentation and behaviors are okay, and compliant. If you have, for any reason, if you have an investor or you have investors or agreements like safes or convertibles or grants, you want to share that stuff up front, so that they can know how to incorporate that, in their financial management, activities for you. You also want to talk about any big moves that are coming up. Surprises are cute for birthdays, not for budgets. So you want to avoid the surprises. Like, let them know if you're going to be spending on tech or software or a major event that's coming up every year or that's coming up for the first time, a new program launch, new hires, contractors. Have those sorts of conversations. You want to talk about your marketing intentions. And if you're planning to spend money on marketing or testing any new marketing strategies that are going to cost money, are you going to double down and spend on some stuff you tested last year that worked out? Maybe you saw some gains from some ads and you want to, double down on that. And so you just want to kind of talk about the cost associated with any of your marketing intentions. And this information is really important because when you talk to your accountant about that, it allows them to help you better track your customer acquisition costs, or CAC. Now, you may not know what CAC is right now, but hang with me for a little bit and I promise you, you will. Rock with Sistahbiz for a minute and you will. You can't go too far down our growth game plan pathway and not talk about CAC. You don't have to know what that means now, but essentially, in short, it's the cost for you to bring in a new customer. And it's a really important thing that I won't go down a rabbit hole in this discussion on, but there's lots of tools in the suite to help with this, and I'll post some resources below. But the point is having a discussion about marketing costs is going to help them better track that number for you, that KPI for you. And so if you don't know what CAC is and you're not tracking it and you don't know where to start to track it, or what it is, just write down the acronym CAC and put it down for something for you to look up, research, and better understand in your budget co-working sessions. Because you definitely need to know this number in order to generate higher profits and save dollars. All right, another discussion that you might have with them is about your vendors and why they exist. The way that the reason for the expense is going to help, when they understand the reason for an expense, they can better categorize it in your budget and in your financial statements, which means your financial statements are going to be more accurate. And so you want to talk through like who you're hiring, who you're working with, what costs and expenses are coming up this year that they should know about, that maybe they are new or different, and why they're being used, because it helps them to better categorize it. Categorization is everything for bookkeeping and accounting. You want to make sure that they're doing that right. And then let's talk about just talking about the relationship and the communication between them. Like, you want to have this conversation with your accountant and your bookkeeping team around like, what decisions should I be making sure I run by you first? Or when should I definitely loop you in before I make a move on something with money? When should I definitely notify you about something that I've done? And how fast can I get an answer from you if something comes up? That's an important question to ask, because if they have customers, they have clients, they have lives, they have businesses that they're running. And so sometimes they might have a 48 or 72-hour turnaround. Have a real conversation. Like, I want to understand how busy you are and how easy it is for me to reach or not reach you, so that I can prevent delays, so that I can know what to expect, and that sort of thing. So you want to have that discussion. The next discussion that you want to have is really around forecasting. And if you're picturing you're picturing like big company spreadsheets, when I say forecasting, Marcus Graham at the front of the room with the CFO or something, like, no, pause and reset, because forecasting isn't a corporate thing. It's actually more important for your business, in my opinion, when your business is small. And so if you're a game planner, and our Sistahbiz members are, you want to be armed with information about like what the next 3 to 6 months could look like. You can't operate on guesses and vibes. And so you want to ask them to help you look ahead, and get ahead of cash flow droughts, prepare for large expenses, plan for investment dollars. They can guide that conversation if you let them know you're interested in better understanding that and using that information to plan. Forecasting gives you like confidence so that you can move money week to week without second guessing every decision. Or if you're the type of person to just spend and not really pay attention, it'll keep you out of some trouble if you do forecasting work. And so you're asking your money team to help you look forward, not just backward. And so ask them to help you look at the next 3 to 6 months and what's going in and what's going out. And let them know that that's a conversation you want to have a couple times a year, if not quarterly. And so that's key. That's key. All right. I think those are some of the major things I want you to talk to your accountant about, or consider talking to your accountant and bookkeeper. And keep in mind, accountants have different roles than bookkeepers, than accounting clerks, than CFOs, and the services that you've purchased may or may not involve this level of consultation. So you want to check on that too and see exactly what comes with what your contract with them allows and makes room for, and decide if you need to upgrade your contract or purchase a one-off consultation session outside of your services, those sorts of things. So keep that in mind. And this is why planning on the front end is so key. Looking at your budget, having these conversations about the plan at the start of the year. And so if you're a member inside the suite, you're going to find a sample agenda and a simple questionnaire you can use to guide your conversation with your accountant, so you're not winging it or overthinking it. Make sure you save this episode and revisit it before that meeting. And if you want some structured support, some planning tools, some real-time guidance, check out Sistahbiz membership if you're not already a member, and attend our budget lab. All right. I don't think that I have anything else on this agenda. I hope you have an amazing conversation with your accountant, your bookkeeper, your money team, and I'll talk to you soon.